Tadparam Paryaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guruh Prachodayate Om. Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you everyone for being with me again this morning as we start our third session on the spine and yoga. When we are talking about the spine, we are talking about not only the vertebral column, which is the column made up of 33 bones, 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 vertebrae in the sacral area that become one bone, the sacrum, and 4 coccygeal vertebrae that become one coccyx, a one bone. So we have 33 of the vertebrae and we have 26 of the bones. We also saw how we have 31 pairs of spinal nerves. These are the nerves coming out of the spinal cord in the gap between the vertebrae and supplying the whole body. Now, this vertebral column, it is very, very vital for all our functioning. Because people say, oh, it is a musculoskeletal system, so it is for movement and support and movement. And people limit the effect of it. It's like people say, oh, the Hathenas, which are a series of practices, and we'll soon come to them. The Hathenas of Geetananda tradition, they are good for breathing disorders. I'm like, no, they're good for everything. Because if you are not breathing properly, nothing in you is going to work properly. Your kidneys will not work properly if you are not breathing properly. Your brain will not work properly if you are not breathing properly. Your digestion will not happen if you are not breathing properly. So the Hathenas are not just for the breathing disorders, because that is where Dr. Ananda put it in his book, Yoga for breathing disorders, and he put the Hathenas, so they are only for breathing disorders. That is why do not follow my books. Do not follow any book. As my yoga research mentor, Madan Mohan sir, that amazing Einstein of Indian yoga and Indian philosophy and Indian physiology, he used to say, books, and this is how he used to say, books are for the obedience of fools and the guidance of wise. Books are for the obedience of fools and the guidance of the wise. Be wise. The book is only to give you a general outline. You don't have to stick to every word in it. You are not I nearly used a swear word, okay? You are not a bureaucrat. And you know what I would say before a bureaucrat? Who only looks at what's in the word and doesn't understand what is in between the line. Did you punch in today? Did you sign your attendance? If you haven't signed your attendance, if you haven't punched in, you could not have worked and you don't get paid. That's a dash bureaucratic approach. Don't bring that into yoga. Remember, everything is interconnected. So when we talk about the spine and the spinal health, if the spine is not properly, if the spine is not healthy, nothing in you is going to be healthy. Nothing. Because if the spine is not healthy, the blood vessels running through it and along it, they are not going to be healthy. The nerves that are there, especially the spinal nerves, 31 pairs of spinal nerves, if they get damaged, depending on the level at which they are damaged, to the extent they are damaged, you may lose sensation, you may lose motor function, and even autonomic innervation gets disturbed, which means the supply of the autonomic nerves to the different vital structures within us, the organic structures. So having a healthy spine is not just so that your head and all that head weight can be carried on your back, but it lies there The health of the spine lies as the core principle. That is why it is the Brahma Danda on which everything can move. So these spinal nerves, they are basically your whole peripheral nervous system. So all the sensation coming from the whole body to your brain, and all the motor commands from the brain going down to supply your whole body, has to go through your spine. And now you tell me, if your spine is not healthy, does it only give you a pain in the back or the neck? No. It makes you an unhealthy person at multiple levels. Your organs may not be getting the sympathetic, parasympathetic flow as they should, leading to an altered state of homeostasis called allostasis. Altered homeostasis is allostasis, and this load of allostasis keeps on increasing, like, the weight on the camel's back, and then one day there is a straw put on it. One day a straw is put on it, and that straw breaks the camel's back. It is not the straw. It is the constant weight that has been put on the camel's back that breaks it. The allostatic load, as the body cannot respond to the stressors. Why? Because the healthy flow is not happening. And yes, Ramanathanji, Apuji, full energy blowing throughout lockout period. Very true. Because there's so much of energy put in that no one knows what to do with it. And that is why we need to let it out, which is why we are going to crawl a bit, okay? So all of you join me as we crawl and let out a bit of our stress from the lockdown period, okay? All the caged animals, yeah, we have all become caged animals. And there's a beautiful cartoon where all the animals are outside looking at us humans in cages now. And just like we used to look at them in the zoos, yeah, that's what they are doing now. So let's crawl around a bit. Crawling is healthy. Crawling is good for your spine. Give yourself a nice crawl. Make sure you have a soft surface so that you don't damage your knees if they are a bit weak. Someone was asking me, what do you do if the person has knee problems and knee replacements and all? Well, it is a tough question, and you would have to sort of lie on the back and do mock crawling, basically like we do mock cycling and mock walking from the supine posture. So you would, bring your arms and feet up into the air and act as if you're crawling. And again, one more thing is there is a very good pattern, which is that you can be sitting and thinking about it. And if you can think about it in good enough detail, it's as good as doing it. So, okay? But not just thinking about it in the sense of a very vague way. You have to think, just as when I move my left hand, my right hand, my knees are moving, my back is moving, I have to be able to visualize that in my mind, every unit of that movement. And then it's as if I'm doing the movement. It's actually as good as doing it. So the mirror neurons inside us, especially in the prefrontal area, they can actually help us get the benefit. So nothing wrong in that. So crawling is good. Let's let out a bit of the emotional energy. Huh? Okay. Yeah, there are people like Gargi who love the lockdown. Don't love it too much. Okay, let's get a few cats out, okay? Meow. Meow. Kim, this is for you. Meow. Meow. And then and again, if you want to be a nice cow, you can be a goat if you like goat yoga. If you like goat yoga, you go ba 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 ba. Or you want to be a tiger. You can be the lion. Get it all out. And then at the end of it, you know what you do? You come into the Vajrasana and you sit quietly for a few moments. And this is an asana that is a beautiful asana that can only be done by the human beings. It's a human posture. When you sit in Vajrasana, it's a human posture. And when you choose to be quiet, that is the sound of humanity. The real sound of a human being is the choice to be quiet. As Ramana Maharishi says, Summa iru. Just be. Fine. So we were crawling around, letting out a bit of steam. And I tell you, this is amazing therapy. When we do work with the young children especially, this is a very, very good one. How donkey, okay, yeah. Hee haw, hee haw. We do a few donkeys also for those who want to get the donkey out. You know, what is very important is that we are suppressing and repressing all of these things all the time. It is, and yes, Gargi, you are true. The family connection has been strengthened beyond measure. I also have experienced it. Our family has also experienced it. Yes. So what happens is with young children especially, the emotional volatility is very, very predominant. We were talking about the teens in Divya's new series. We had the second episode yesterday. So proud of that girl. We had our second episode talking about emotions and teens and Kali Yuga. And it so enthused us. And last night, the junior gangster yogi Anand came online. And I tell you, I now have an inferiority complex because that guy is so good, you know. Gangster, I cannot do all of that. He's more gangster, less yogi. Maybe I'm more yogi, less gangster. But it was quite amazing, actually. Yes. Children need to let things out. And what is happening is children at home are said, be quiet. They go to school, be quiet. They go to public space, be quiet. When are they going to let it out? So we say, come to Yoganjali, come to the yoga class. That's why our kids love the yoga class. Why do they love the yoga class? It gives them a space where they can be themselves. As, you know, many of my kids have told me at Yognath, the one place they can just be themselves without being judged for it. That is the space we create at our institution for the young children. A space where the children can be themselves without being judged for it. And the potential comes out. And these type of sounds, when they're given a chance to go, you know, you cannot take yourself seriously after that. Anybody watching this cannot take Dr. Ananda seriously, because what happens, you let go of all of that self-pretense, I am the big guru, I am the director, you know, look at me. And your BP keeps on going up, your blood pressure keeps on going up, you know. It's so amazing. You know, it is really, really, really amazing. What happens is we have so much of this stress because we think too much of ourselves. Now, once I come in front of you and I go, hee ha, hee ha, I go, ah. There's no way you can ever have this so-called artificial respect for Dr. Ananda. You may start to love Dr. Ananda. You may like him. You may, you know, like him, hate him. Who cares? There are some who hate me. That's their business, not mine. You know, if somebody doesn't like me, why should I worry about it? It's their problem, not my problem. If I don't like somebody, it is my problem, okay? So coming back, when we want to work with the spine, what we need to understand is the vertebral column with 33 vertebrae, 26 bones. What is happening is that it has these curvatures, and the beautiful curvatures that are there. And the curvature here, then, so the curvature goes like this, the neck. If I were to be here, you should be able to see a curvature, a C shape like this. This is the C shape of the neck. Then you have the C shape that goes into the back, that goes the other way. So you have this C, and then this C, then the lumbar is this C, and the coccygeal is this. So you have this flow like this, okay? This is the flow of your spine. Beautiful curvatures that come in our spine. And what has happened is those curvatures are being lost in modern times. So more and more pressure is being placed on the two areas. One is the neck, because it is the thin bones, the bones that enable us to have mobility, and then those sumo wrestlers, the lumbar vertebrae. So they really start to struggle, and because of that struggle, double S, as Gargi points out, it's a double S. C and C makes one S, and C and C makes another S. So double S. The super spine, SS, super spine, okay? Should be a subtle spine. So what happens is that we have this problem that all these vertebrae, instead of working together, now as we know, the major issue is that in any place where you have a team, family is a mini team, workplace there's a team, society is a bigger team. Whenever you have a team, it is important that every member of the team pulls their weight. It is very, very important that what happens is that if each member of the team is not pulling the weight, the ones who are pulling the weight are going to be overburdened. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again, because this is the key to teamwork. If you have a team and your vertebrae are 33 members of a team, okay, each vertebrae should be doing what it is expected to do. That is its dharma. I like to think of cells as having dharma. So each cell has its dharma. A liver cell has the dharma to be the best liver cell it can be. The kidney cell has a dharma to be the best kidney cell it can be. Each vertebrae of yours has the dharma to be the best vertebra. If it is C7, the best C7. If it is L1, the best L1. Now what happens is, just like in every team, we have the lazy ones. The Tamasika. Kapha predominant, Tamasika predominant combination that just wants to sit and wait while everybody else pulls the team forward. So what happens is certain parts of your spine start to get overused, misused, disused, abused, and when that happens, they start to break down. As Swamiji used to tell us, everything in the universe is there for your use, not for your misuse, abuse, or disuse. And what happens is, when the team is not working as a team, the strain on certain areas, and the lumbar area gets a lot of strain because it cannot escape. It's at the bottom of the pile. And the cervical cannot escape because it is the thinnest one. It's the most fragile one. And that is why the thoracic and the sacral and the thoracic they sort of manage. But the cervical and the lumbar, they really, really struggle. So what do? We want to get them working as a team. And that is why one of the greatest practices is called Vyagra Pranayama, the tiger breathing. Now, many people call this the cat-cow. Now, for God's sake, that is a modern misrepresentation of yoga. And there's a lot of them out there. And be careful, Dr. Ananda is coming out of his 7th cycle, which is introspective Swadhyaya. And when I'm 54, I'm coming into a 1 cycle. And that is going to be that guy who's really going to beat you guys up. I'm very, very diplomatic now. Couple of years, I'll be 54, and then watch out in that 1 cycle. The 3 birth path with a 1 minor, it's a dangerous combination. And that's the time I'm going to start making real bad enemies. Because I'm going to really be speaking my mind like Gangster Yogi. And Gangster Yogi is just the prelude to it. Yes, Gargi, you are right. The alter ego is just the prelude of what's going to come. But coming back, cat-cow is a nonsensical modern creation. Vyagra Pranayama. Vyagraha is the tiger, like the great sage who was a friend of Maharishi Patanjali. Vyagra Pada. He had feet like a tiger. What it meant is that not that his feet were like a tiger, but he could transform himself into a tiger-like shape when he needed to go through like forests and other place. The rishis had that. Like Maharishi Patanjali could become a snake-like figure when he had to travel through tough terrain. These were siddhis they had. Not that they were always a snake or always a tiger. That is a misrepresentation. These were great human beings. But they had the capacity, like X-Men basically, you know the modern X-Men series? Something like that basically, a Wolverine, yeah, something like that. Okay, fine. Anyway, enough of movie references. So the Vyagra Pranayama, which is tiger breathing, is where we go on to all fours. And when we are on all fours, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be utilizing the breath. The breath is the bridge. The breath is the counselor. The breath is the negotiator. And what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be breathing out. The head comes down when we breathe out. The head goes up when we breathe in. Remember, lift on the inhalation, lower on the exhalation. Okay? That is the general rule, except for very few exceptions. So what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be lowering the head, lifting the head. But the head is only one component. Remember the whole spine. So in the Gitananda tradition, please remember, it is always low, mid, high as you breathe in, low, mid, high as you breathe out. And it makes very good sense in this. So when you are, this is out. Okay, now I breathe out. When I start to breathe in, first, the lower part of my back starts to come down. Then, as I continue to breathe into mid-chest, the upper part of the back comes down. And then as I breathe into the upper chest, now my head goes up. You got the idea? The first part is you breathe in, lowering the lower back. Breathe in, lowering the upper back. And then breathing in, lifting up the head. Now, as you breathe out, what happens is, again, the lower part is out first. So the lower back starts to go up, middle back starts to go up, and then finally the head comes. So it is a low, mid, and then the high, and then it is again the low, the mid, and then the high. So it's not just this. Okay, it's not just your head bobbing up and down. Okay? No, Pooja, it's not a cat. My father hated that. He said, his students should not be cats, pussycats. They should be tigers. And that is the energy we want, okay? Now, the closest to Vyagra Pranayama is what America has as a tablet, and I'm not even going to say it. Say Vyagra enough and you'll get that. Okay? Become a tiger, but that's in a different connotation. Be a tiger, not a cat, okay? That's why this cat-cow is a total nonsense that came in modern times. Vyagra, the tiger. Be a tiger. Okay, so what are we doing? Lower back going down as you breathe in, mid back going down as you breathe in, and the head lifting up as you breathe in. Now the lower back going up as you breathe out, mid back going up as you breathe out, and now the head coming down as you breathe out. Breathing in from the low, the mid, and now the head going up high, then the lower back, the mid back, and now the head coming. Okay? This is the Vyagra Pranayama. The Vyagra Pranayama is a very, very important pranayama because what it does is it brings together low, mid, and high. All three aspects of your lungs. And when you are breathing low, mid, high consciously, the prana is flowing. So the lower part of the body, the middle part of the body, the upper part of the body, all of them are pranically energized. So all your nervous system at the physical level, and remember the spinal cord is where those 31 pairs of nerves come out, supplying sensory, motor, and autonomic function. Exactly. When you do this practice, what you are doing is making sure there is a pranic energization of every part of your physical, subtle, and causal layers of your nervous system, which then grows into the nadi system, the chakra system at a more subtle layer. So Vyagra Pranayama is an amazing practice because now what happens is your whole, all those 33 vertebrae, imagine what is happening. This is going down, going up, and then up. So what you're doing is you're creating this wave-like motion. You know where you see that wave-like motion? In the caterpillars, in the centipedes. The caterpillars, you see that wave-like motion when they move. That is the type of motion you want to create, a beautiful sense of a wave-like motion being created in your whole spine. So your whole spine, all the vertebrae, they start to work as a team. This is a very, very important one. And yes, Muttu Rajamani, when the vertebrae don't work, the impact on the lower body muscles, because the lumbar area gets compressed, the sacral area gets compressed. That is why people end up with sciatica. That is why they end up with pelvic issues. That's why they have sexual issues, genitourinary issues. And that is why we have the peripheral neuropathies. We have all the compression issues happening in the lower aspects. And that is why it is so essential that all the vertebrae learn to work together. And before I close today, I just wanted to remind you, if you want a healthy spine, and tomorrow I'll talk more about that. If you want a healthy spine, make sure you are hydrated. Because if you are dehydrated, the intervertebral discs that lie between the vertebrae, and I'll talk about that tomorrow, they get dehydrated, and that will worsen your condition. So one of the simple things you can do, 2 to 3 liters of water per day. If you don't have a kidney issue, if you have a kidney problem, limit it to about 1.2 liters, not more than that. But otherwise, 2 to 3 liters of water, not at one time, say, space it out, especially now that we are into the hot climate. Take a lot of liquids, juices. You can take some very good kanji. You can take some coconut, green coconut. That's a very good one because it's as good as electrolytes. If you want, you can add some electrolytes. I have found it to be very useful, adding electrolytes to the water because the body needs the minerals. So be healthy. Remember, your spine holds you up. And if you don't stand up erect, you're not you, right? Have that wonderful spirit of you lifting yourself, lifting the self by the self, Atma Atmanam, as the Bhagavad Gita tells us. Till tomorrow, see you all and have a wonderful time.